Hi, guys. It's Ryan Fowler. Welcome to another Mind Chrysalis client interview. I'm here with my good friend, Rick. Rick, I've known you for the last couple years. He is a businessman running several businesses. You actually have your own TED Talk. I found your TED Talk, by the way, Rick. Interviewed over 40 billionaires. So you've done quite a bit of stuff, and you've done a couple sessions with me at this point. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ryan.
How
I
you doing?
appreciate you. Good. Doing good.
And Rick, you've been gracious enough to share your experience about, how what I do, hypnosis, mindset coaching, all of that has helped you. So what I'm curious about is what made you decide to first do a session with me? What were you looking to improve? And
Yeah,
what made you take that plunge?
I think something that I discovered as an adult, I'm 60 now, is that the amount of unhealthy drive that an adult has is inversely proportional to the depth of trauma in childhood. And I realized I had a lot of unhealthy drive, and it was related to mom and dad issues, and I wanted to resolve those. My dad got cancer when I was
Hmm.
11 and died when I was 13. My mother had a nervous breakdown when I was a baby after my 4-year-old brother died. So uh, when she had that death, she was bad. But then when my dad died, it was a lot worse. And I was one of 8 living kids. It was a very traumatic childhood. So I wanted to resolve that.
Okay, yeah. So we came in, we did the first session, and you know what's funny is we did the first session for you, and there was definitely some stuff to clear, but we were so focused on the stuff we wanted to clear, I didn't even realize the extent of your childhood struggles. I knew they were there, but we did the first session, I think back in 2021. Is that right?
Yep, that sounds about right. Mhm.
And what did we help you with that session, and what were the results?
I had a lot of guilt and shame over not respecting or loving or appreciating my mother in any way, shape, or form.
Mm,
And it was derived from m- me remembering my mother uh, blaming me often for the death of my brother and saying crazy things like, why did God take your brother and not you? As a, when
yes,
I was a young
good
kid,
grief.
and that, dealing with that level of shame. I don't even know what the right word is. I deserve to be here. So it caused in me an unhealthy drive. Like, I'll show her who's boss here. But
Yeah.
the reality is she was just a broken woman. She was young. She had a lot of kids. She had a lot of pressure. Her husband was dying. So I've now, as a result of the hypnosis, realized that she was doing the best she can.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you have resentment towards her, or what was that all
Re-
about?
I think resentment would be a very light word.
Gotcha, man. Where's it at now?
I I think it's gone completely. I often meditate
Yeah.
about how much I love her. I've forgiven her multiple times, probably thousands of times if I
Hmm.
think about all the meditations I've done. And uh, it's hard to even comment on it because it's one of those things that's been resolved.
Did the first session for you, and what was that like after? Did things change for you? If so, how? I know you talked about forgiving her. Any other benefits or changes?
I think one thing that you do, Ryan, without knowing it, is you give people clarity.
Hmm.
So I would say prior to the session, there was more chatter in my brain.
Hmm.
After the session, it was just more calm and clarity. I didn't have the buzz, the typical buzzing that people have and the voice. I don't have any voice in my head anymore. Um, after 2 sessions, I think that's a gift that you give people, and that's a gift you gave me. So it's even hard to think about how best to answer the question, because when you don't have that mental chatter, it really is a relief.
So we actually did a second session, probably, I don't know, a couple months ago at this point. And tell me about that. How was that for you?
For me, it was always in the back of my mind that I've got to do another session with you, just because like the first one was more about clearing and clarity,
Hmm.
and then the second one for me was about being more successful and working less. I've been the type of guy, if you recall in the session, that I think I deserve money and I deserve success only if I work my ass
Only
off.
if you work very hard, what you do.
Right. But since that session, I have not really worked that hard and I've made more money. So,
Really?
uh, yeah.
Give me details, man. I want to hear about that.
So we started a new division in the company. It's called the Exit Concierge. We're really good at selling companies, not like brokers, but
Hmm.
we work with the team, and our average transaction is 100 million plus. We
Dang.
just closed the deal at 145 million. What we do is we put the vendor
Good
team
grief.
together. So when you sell a company, the CEO and team often don't think about how do I get the best investment banker at half the cost? How do I get the best quality of earnings accounting? How do I get the best lawyer to work at a fixed fee? And by putting that team together, it ensures number one, that you close, which
Hmm.
is risky. Number two, that you have a really good price of your vendors. And number three, that you get the highest price. And that business is, we've been doing it for a long time, but not under the brand Exit Concierge. Anyway, long story short, we've been attracting a lot of deals because the business model is so clean,
Hmm.
and it's been effortless.
I know my audience wants to know if someone wants to become like you, what any mindset tips or other tips?
Well, everybody's got their own journey. I wrote a book called Who's in Your Room,
Yeah,
the,
yeah,
the orange
I have
one.
it.
And what the book is about is I think we all have a personal responsibility, all of us, to stop the insanity and busyness of life and to sit down with somebody like you and discover why we're here. What's our purpose?
Anything you would like to tell before we go? And I very much appreciate your time, Rick. Anything you would like to tell anyone considering,
Y-
using my services or just anything along this line of going inward, fixing your core? We work on outer mindset too. What would you tell them?
I had a conversation right before this video recording with a potential client, and I said, "Can I ask you a really weird question? Why is your nature to overcomplicate things?" And he said,
Yeah.
"What do you mean?" I said, "We're talking about something really simple, and you're complicating it. So it's hard for me to imagine someone talking to you who would try to overcomplicate this. Look, put your ego aside,
Yeah.
surrender to the process that Ryan offers, and on the other side of it, you'll be a better human being. Don't you want that?" Yeah, just don't overcomplicate it. Life is not as difficult as one can imagine. And I always think about divine orchestration. The reason you're listening to this video uh, could potentially be that it's been divinely orchestrated that you hear this message and that you do work with Ryan.
You can make changes because you really do have more power than you know. And thank you, Rick.